It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Stacey's here, Jeff's here, Ant's here. Lots to talk about, including the first Android phone from Microsoft. Happy birthday, IBM PC. And why the next time you need to go update a Boeing 747, you ought to bring your floppy disk manager because you're going to need it. It's all coming up next on Twig. This Week in Google comes to you from our LastPass studios. Securing every access point in your company doesn't have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 572, recorded August 12th, 2020. Cafe Ground Zero. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Monday.com. Monday.com is a flexible platform to manage any team, project, or workflow online. Collaborate, plan, and track everything your team is working on, wherever you are. To start your free 14-day trial, go to monday.com/twit. And by Melissa. Like expired milk, 30% of your customers' data goes bad every year. That's money down the drain. Visit Melissa's developer portal for free access to data quality APIs, demos, and code samples. Freshen up your sour data today with 1,000 records cleaned free at melissa.com/twit. And by Worldwide Technology. WWT's Advanced Technology Center is like no other testing and research lab, with more than $500 million of equipment, including solutions from key partners like Intel Corporation. And it's virtual, so you can access it 24/7. To learn more and get insights into all the ATC offers, go to www.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover the latest from the Googleverse with Mr. Ant Pruitt from Hands On Photography. Hey, you don't usually wear glasses, do you?
Not too often. These are some just for the glare, the blue
They're
light.
blue blockers. So. Yeah, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Nice. Welcome, Ant. Ant always has the best shot because he's a photographer.
I try.
Yes, it's very nice. It looks so good. Jeff Jarvis is also here. Wait a minute. I got to get... Oh, he's got the hat, too. He's the Leonard Town professor for journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. And he has a leftover Kamala hat.
It's not leftover. I've been holding it for just this reason. I knew it would come in handy. It's a little hot for the hoodie this time of year.
You knew it would come back. Are you just
I have a Biden bumper sticker on one side of the car and a Kamala bumper sticker on the other side of the car, and then I'll soon have my Biden-Harris bumper sticker in the middle. They had a family. Yes.
Write Biden's name on a piece of paper and just tape it onto the hat. You'll be set. Okay, maybe not. Also with us from the beautiful Pacific Northwest, she's the master of IoT. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stacey Higginbotham.
Yay.
Hello, Stacey.
Hello, everyone.
Stacey on IoT.com. We cannot play Sarah Cooper's appearance on Jimmy Kimmel last night.
Why can't we? Who would stop us from doing that, Leo?
I don't know. I mean, besides
would
Karsten?
Would it be Killjoy Karsten?
Karsten is only dealing with the laws that they force.
It's not against the law. That's the funny.
Oh.
This is the thing that.
It's against YouTube's.
It's not against
rules.
Anything. It's not against anything.
It just puts you at risk of stupidity.
But because of automatic content ID on YouTube, it could very easily get it taken down on YouTube until we appeal. And the problem with this show, like all the shows we do, it has the long-term staying value of a dead fish. When we get back on YouTube, nobody would watch it. So we it's a terrible chilling effect because it's completely fair use to quote and we don't have to show it. I'll quote the Jimmy Kimmel show, and she was on it. She was guest hosting. She's become famous thanks to Tik Tok. But what I didn't know, but Jeff told us, is not only...
Oh, Stacey told you.
Stacey told you. I confirmed.
Stacey figured it out that she was a Google engineer And her husband, she's married to a current.
Well, I don't know if was she an engineer? What was her job at Stacey?
She was a product manager, and she was a UX designer.
UX designer, PM. And then became a stand-up comedy in the worst possible time during COVID. And but the good news is she, like many actually stand-ups now, have figured out how to use the internet, particularly TikTok. And this is one of the things that really gripes me about this executive order putting TikTok out of business in the U.S. is this is a great platform for a lot of comics, including Sarah Cooper. She, though, I would guess is one of the main reasons why the president doesn't like TikTok. Her lip syncing to his speeches and talks are really right on.
I was thinking about our conversation about this last week when he's threatening to ban it and all that, and you were defending TikTok, the one platform you defend until you get sick of it in a few weeks. And
I love TikTok. What's wrong with TikTok?
I know you do. I'm glad. But it occurred to me since then, I had a conversation with a reporter that it is the one platform the Republicans haven't figured out how to use. Trump hasn't figured out how to use.
There are Trumpists, but not as many on TikTok.
No, not at all. I would say,
but you know what, Jeff? You may not see them because you're a well-known Democrat.
But they don't really do content analysis. They don't know what the content of the TikToks is.
I see pro-Trump TikToks
occasionally, but
not as many as
not many.
Not many. The anti-Trump TikToks.
And then the other thing is, it really does strike me that if TikTok is the modern printing press, then this is a First Amendment issue. It is government interference in speech, even if it's a foreign platform. Hell, printing came from Germany, and the Italians were not crazy about that. Scribes complained, get me started, that the Germans were coming in and making all the money from printing and getting drunk and ruining the children. And it was those damn foreigners. See, nothing's new.
I have to say, though, if Trump issued an executive order to take down Twitter or Facebook, I would be just as anxiously defending both.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I'm even more so with TikTok, just because I think it's you really see some real talented creativity. I feel the same way if they try to take down YouTube. Of course, the difference is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are American companies, and TikTok's a Chinese company.
That's what I was going to ask if I was just oversimplifying this whole executive order, because I assume this went into place because of it's something that's owned by China. Because when I read this executive order, it says TikTok automatically captures vast swaths of information from its users, including internet and other network activity, information such as location data, browsing, and search histories. Sounds like every app on Android.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
it is every app.
It's just an excuse app. That's all. The China thing is an excuse.
And I have to say, if you use TikTok on iOS, which blocks a lot of the things that this is not the article we're talking about right now, that blocks a lot of the things that TikTok can do on Android. We just learned, for instance, that TikTok on Android is skirting Google's protections, supposedly, according to the Wall Street Journal, to take the phone identifier. That's not a nice thing. I'm sure everybody does it, of course, but that's not a nice thing. But it's not doing that on iOS. In fact, it can't really do much on iOS. It's not even getting location data on iOS. So unless you turn that on because you want to have it embedded in your TikToks. So I don't think TikTok is even as bad as some American companies. Is the issue then that it's being sent? It's not being sent to China. It's stored on U.S. servers and backed up in Singapore. But I guess the issue would be that China's government could subpoena it and get it.
The issue is that China is the squirrel versus Russia.
I think that's the political analysis of it. That plus, the various things TikTokers have done against the president. But I also, I do think, but I feel like it's that the new thing is it's easy. It's hard to have a racist point of view about Russians. They look a lot like us. They are Slavs. Hitler said, we can beat Russia. The reason he opened a two-front war against Russia is says, those Slavs are weak. Our Aryan troops can beat the Slavs easily. Boy, did he
That's what he said. They were Untermenschen.
Untermenschen. So there is a racial identity associated with Russians, but at least in the modern world, they're seen as white folks. But
white folks to me.
Yeah, it's white folks to you. But Chinese people, they're clearly others, foreigners, and we don't like them, and so it makes it an easy racist target, the Kung flu and all of that. Not to defend the Chinese government, but the American government could subpoena everything TikTok does too. And I'm not convinced the American government is going to do good.
Well, we're setting ourselves up terribly here because, so many countries don't trust us and our access to data.
Well, it's interesting because one of the things, and we've talked a little bit about this, and I apologize, we'll move on pretty quick. But one of the things people were saying, I forgot. I don't care. I'm moving on. Tencent is also affected by this, another Chinese company, because WeChat is part of this ban. WeChat is owned, I think, wholly owned by Tencent. But you know what else is partially owned by Tencent? A lot of stuff. Well, I'll give you an example. 100% owns Riot Games, creators of League of Legends. Mr. Trump might want to ban that too. Just giving you some ideas. It owns a significant portion of many banks in the U.S. It's a Chinese company. It owns a part of Reddit, Chinese company. So this is the problem. You go down this road. Now you start to wonder, well, how do we disentangle ourselves from Chinese-owned companies? That's a hard thing to do.
They're global.
The iPhone's made by a Chinese company.
Yep.
But the current administration probably already knows that, right? Because they're smart, right?
We're waiting for WeChat was, they're very stable. Geniuses, I hear. Now everything's going out of my head. I was going to say something interesting. I'm going to stop talking now. Go ahead, Stacey. It's your turn.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
It's my turn to talk about the U.S. government trying to ban Chinese companies.
No, anything you want to talk about. You got a doorbell you like?
No, currently I don't. I was going to draw attention. The Wall Street Journal actually did some excellent reporting on devices. Oh my gosh. Sorry, y'all. I was watching Kamala speak because
okay, Jeff, have you been paying attention?
Well, I've been paying attention to the fact that Stacey has much improved her room background on Skype.
Wait a minute, let's see.
She's followed our advice.
My God, there's a plant.
There are lots of plants. This room has like 6 plants.
This one we can see now.
Plant tour.
There we go.
I know you can't see them all yet.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Plant tour. Ready?
Oh, that's a fern.
Look at that.
Can we? If you had one more fern, we could say Stacey's between two ferns. Look, there's another plant.
She's crushing it.
What a nice room that is.
Crushing it on the plant front.
I told Stacey before we were on the air.
In a stand.
It's just right. You need that balance. You see, it works. It works. We're right. It's wonderful. Congratulations.
I wish I could
Cory
have my
Booker got crap for having no plants, and Room Rater said to put plants on. So he put 10 plants on a table, and then on the whiteboard, he just wrote faintly RR10. Room Raider 10.
Oh, smart.
And they saw it and gave it the thumbs up.
Good for you, Cory. So the Wall Street Journal just did a study about data snarfing by apps or something.
They actually did one on TikTok, but that wasn't the story I was really excited about.
They did. That was the story about them snarfing up the IBM.
Yeah, that was the Android story. Oh, that has a Google reference. Maybe we should talk about that.
Ooh, Android.
Android is Google. Look.
I'm not saying TikTok is clean as a whistle, or the Chinese government is clean as a whistle, but the TikTok is being essentially put out of business, at least in the U.S., without any evidence presented about why. It's just because it's Chinese.
Which is something we complain about other nations doing all the time. Right. But here's the story I was talking about. This is an NSA-focused story. And I thought it was worth noting, even if there's no Google bits.
Well, we don't have to have the Google bits in it. And we are going to get to something very Google-y.
She's just trying to give herself license for always giving us crap.
NSA warns cell phone data location could pose national security threat. That story?
No. This is. I put it in the rundown. This is a company called Anomaly 6, and what it has done is various app makers in the U.S. allow Anomaly 6 contracts with the federal government. Anomaly 6 grabs their data, though, by paying various app makers to embed their SDK on phones.
Yes.
And so I might download an app that has an SDK from Anomaly 6. But if I have done that, and there's no way for me to know if I have or not, then Anomaly 6 is taking the data from my phone and selling that access to the federal government.
Wow.
And that is like, nobody talked about this story. They published it on Friday. I don't understand why they would do that. It is, to me, a huge deal. But maybe I'm wrong.
More than 500 apps, hundreds of millions of users.
And this is how the app businesses run, right?
Yeah.
If you are giving something to someone for free, you do need to make some money somewhere. And so you're like, yeah, well, buddy, you could. And I talk to companies all the time that embed their SDK in apps. You know, not all of it's marketing. Sometimes it's like, hey, I'll use your Bluetooth, to create
we had
a
a sponsor for a long time called Braintree that does in-app payments. And what they sold essentially was the ability to embed their SDK in your app so that you could take in-app payments. This is very common. Most apps, I would suspect, are using libraries and tools from third parties. It's interesting that there's a company that specializes in an SDK that provides location data to branches of the U.S. government and private sector clients.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting business. Anomaly 6, founded by defense contracting veterans who worked closely with government agencies for most of their careers. It helps because you can knock on the door and they say, come on in, Joe. They built a company to cater in part to national security agencies. The firm's capabilities described in documents prepared for military officials that were reviewed by the journal. They also explained their business practices in a briefing to Ron Wyden's office, whose staff then also described it to the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, Senator Wyden from Oregon has been conducting a probe into the sale of our location data. It's interesting the journal has suddenly become the white knight for our privacy.
No. The journal is the progenitor of moral panic for the view of Rupert Murdoch that he wants to fight Google.
Right.
We knew that was coming.
He was doing that on purpose.
But they also talk about Babel Street, which is another company that does exactly the same thing. And I would argue it's not moral panic to draw attention to this and say, hey, is this something that we really want? Because this is clandestine location tracking on your device. And I may recognize that, and I have focused on this for a while, I recognize that Google can give my location data to law enforcement if there's a subpoena. And I also recognize that those subpoenas are getting more and more broad, which we're seeing some court cases come up around that. I also recognize that when those subpoenas come out, Google can't always tell me what police are looking for.
Right.
So I've very much focused on that. What I haven't thought much about is this kind of data gathering and use by the federal government. But it's relevant, Jeff. It's not just moral panic when you think about what the FBI is doing around tracking people at protests.
Leo and I were just toying with each other because he was trying to praise the journal, and I was trying to say, remember, it's Murdoch. That's all.
So, okay, I was like, Jeff, I would think this is something that you see as a journalist.
Is it safe to assume
that was a little...
if you have a smartphone... See, the thing about and one of the reasons I started carrying the iPhone and started maybe preferring the iPhone is because it does at least warn you when something is getting your location data, and you can say no to that, right? Google started doing that a little bit.
Yeah, Google does that now too.
Yeah,
I get those notifications all the time.
So Google does it constantly.
Are those effective against Babel Street and Anomaly 6? Or, by the way, it's spelled anomaly. When I say anomaly, is that not right? I always say anomaly. I'm going to have
those
to fix.
Those are the same words, aren't they?
Yeah, but I pronounce it.
The word is anomaly.
Is it anomaly or anomaly?
It's anomaly.
Okay.
Where's John McWhorter when we need him?
Mr. McWhorter.
What does an A with an umlaut over it mean in the pronunciation guide?
E.
That's a whole separate letter in Sweden, by the way.
Yes, it should be. It should be a whole separate letter here too.
Yeah, and you know what? If you go to a town, this is very fun and true story. If you're in Sweden and you're at one of their transport kiosks at like their train stations and you're seeking like a ticket to like Almhurst, for example, if you look under A, it's not there.
Right.
You have to look under A with the little
umlaut.
over it.
I'm going to play it right now and see what this says.
Anomaly.
That doesn't sound right at all. Anomaly. Anomaly. Now I'm really confused. Okay, moving along. So, should I, even though I get warnings from my operating system it feels like I can control location data, should I still be concerned about this Anomaly 6, or does that block them?
I say be concerned, but most of the time people are not going to be concerned enough. The regular folks, people like you're probably just going to uninstall the app and just say, you know what, forget it.
I don't really care. I turn on Google location because I like to know where I've been.
Same
Not
here.
That it's
I
very
like to have a history.
Lately. Yeah,
I like to have history.
So then relax.
Reverb Mike says this
relax.
This
what
is
does it
my
matter?
Reverb Mike says this is my own private Via Anomaly. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff. Yes?
No, I just say relax.
Relax.
So you went to the office.
Let him follow me around.
We all know you're at the office.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's not like I am.
You know, there's a certain ego that is inherent in this. Is that we worry that China is going to care where we were.
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
Yeah,
what
I don't
is
want
China
to know where
get?
I am. I think it's a wrong thing and all that. But at some point, it's not worth my brain power to stop China from knowing that I used to go to Taco Bell.
I understand. I mean, if
it's not you, Jeff.
I understand but I'm just saying.
It is our military service people.
Right, and they're barred from having TikTok on their phone, and I think that's a good thing. In fact, I have no problem if Wells Fargo, which they do, wants to bar employees from having TikTok on their phone. I have no problem with that. But I have a problem with it being banned from all use in the country because I don't get the threat. If I were a spy,
we don't get the threat for the regular folks.
Right. For you and me, who
them
cares?
hacking me.
That's what I'm saying.
Hacking me is not going to get them much other than they're going to feel sorry for me, if anything. But outside of that, they're not going to gain anything.
I can understand China wants to know where dissidents are, former Chinese residents are, American spies, American military. I can understand all that. We know that Strava running app was heavily used by military personnel, and they figured out where a secret military base was because there was all these people running around an empty spot in the map in a circle. So they said, don't carry Strava on you. Although that has mixed blessing. For a long time, I'm told was it the Russians or the Chinese thought there was a secret place in the Pentagon because there was a lot of traffic there, in and out of there, and they thought this must be an important spot. Turned out it was a hot dog cart in the courtyard. So it doesn't replace, traditional.
That is important.
Yeah, it is important. Good old traditional spying. It sits wrong with me, but we don't have to go on and on about that. I mean,
the people like me can say, it doesn't really matter if they hack me, but that's not fair to everyone, in my opinion, because we do have a right to privacy to a certain extent, right?
And I'm concerned.
Well, and if you think about access, even so, federal and municipal access to this kind of data, there's nothing that prevents someone who works in any of those places from using that data to maybe stalk someone.
Right.
And that's.
So I agree. We should have the right to protect our privacy. And I'm thrilled that the iPhone and the Android.
No. I don't think it's just a function of a right to protect our privacy. I think we should be having a discussion about the trade-offs associated with free use of apps and the business models that
Who should we have this discussion with? And I'm not.
We should be having the fact that we're having it now. When you say to someone, "Hey, that's a really cool app, hot or not, whatever. Is it a hot dog?" That's fun, but is that giving up your location? What are the trade-offs associated with these things? And part of it is making people aware, because I don't think they are. And I think it's also really hard to say, or it's really easy to say, well, the government doesn't care about my location. Yeah. I think it's important to show people why they may not want the government to have access to that information.
So should we ban TikTok? Should we ban TikTok?
No.
I'm not talking about TikTok, Leo. I'm talking
discussions like this should have happened 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago when we had that congressional hearing?
There, yeah.
Instead of having the grandstanding, is that what you're saying?
They should have happened then, and they are still happening. I mean, some of this information came out because of a Senator Wyden's discussion.
Right.
I think it's just we need to have this ongoing conversation, and we need to keep thinking about it. We need to keep talking about it, and one day something's going to click for people.
Right.
Maybe.
Here is a picture of the Pentagon hot dog stand. According to Brett Eaton, an information and communications officer for Washington Headquarters Services, rumor has it that during the Cold War, the Russians never had any less than 2 missiles aimed at this hot dog stand. They thought this was the Pentagon's most top secret meeting room, and that, in fact, the entire Pentagon was a fortress built around this hot dog stand. This because, according to satellite imagery, this is in the days before smartphones, the Soviets could see groups of U.S. military officers entering and exiting the hot dog stand about the same time every day. They concluded the stand was the entrance to an underground bunker where officers were going to get their top secret briefings in a protected area. Sadly, in 2006, Cafe Ground Zero, as it was known, was torn down.
Wow.
So this predates location.
What a name.
I think it was a colloquial name. I don't think it was its official name.
Because the missiles were aimed at it.
Yeah. It was declared.
Ground Zero became Ground Zero because that's where the missiles, or that's where the planes.
Because the Pentagon has been declared a National Historic Landmark, even if they tear it down, they had to replace it with a building of roughly the same size and shape. So maybe there's something there that actually is the entrance to a secret underground briefing room now, which is what I would do if I were the Pentagon.
I would actually have the hot dog stand and put the secret meeting room under the hot dog stand.
Under the hot dog stand.
That's how they do it on TV shows.
Yeah, the Americans, that's clearly where the secret briefing room would be. Anyway, it's just depressing. I got nothing to say about TikTok anymore except that. We're going to take a break, and then we are going to talk about the hot new Android phone that was announced today. Hot from a surprising company. Does that help you narrow it down? Our show today brought to you by Monday.com, a team management platform that lets teams like ours plan, manage, and track work in one centralized place. You can collaborate with your teammates, track everything your team is working on, even when the team isn't all at work. In fact, especially when the team is working from home or anywhere in the world, in any industry, whether you're working with a team of 5 or 5,000. Monday.com is the easiest way to keep everyone connected, everyone on track. And with so many employees working from home today, Monday.com is a project management platform that makes effective teamwork possible anywhere. Look, one of the things you need is a central place of truth of all the information. But I know also, speaking as a team leader myself, one of the things I don't want to do is start using, getting rid of everything we use and use this. But I was so excited. We got Eddie to come in and show us how to use Monday.com. He's one of their onboarding specialists. He helped set up some stuff. And he showed us how we can automatically bring everything we're doing right now right into Monday.com. Zoom, Slack, Google Docs, calendars, emails, everything. And we continue to use the tools we're used to, but now we can see how it's going all in one centralized place. You can improve coordination across teams and departments. No more stand-ups, no more check-in meetings, because you just go to the dashboard and you know exactly what's going on. And for people like Stacey, who likes her perch charts, you can have Monday.com look like whatever kind of dashboard you want. A Gantt chart, a timeline, a Kanban. You can have tables like spreadsheets. Monday.com has you covered. They even have remote-ready templates to get you up to speed in seconds. It's completely customizable. It adapts to whatever you need it to be. You'll increase productivity and efficiency while facilitating transparency to improve collaboration. They have automation, and I love it. It's no code. It's no code automation. So you could we put the entire team's workflow on autopilot. So everything wherever you're working flows into Monday.com so we can see what's going on. Alerts, automatic status updates, project flows, keeping your team on track, confident in their work. And the other thing I love about this is if you use data to make decisions, and I hope you do, now you're not just guessing. Well, I think this is how we're doing or this is what's going on. You now can see what's going on in real time from a single source of truth. Track progress, timelines, budgets, and that'll help you make better decisions. 100,000 teams are already getting things done with Monday.com. And get if you decide to sign up, and I think you will, you definitely want to get Eddie or whoever the onboarding specialist is to help you get the most out of the platform. They'll help you walk you through it, give you some idea. You'll be up and running instantly. Change the way you work and do it online with Monday.com. Let them take care of the things that slow you down and free up more of your time to work on the things that get you excited. Start your free 14-day trial right now, Monday.com/twit. Monday, M-O-N-D-A-Y, Monday.com/twit. We thank Monday for their support. A new OEM in the Android ecosystem, someone who's never, ever made an Android phone. Any guesses?
Apple?
No. That would be good. No. How about Microsoft?
Microsoft.
I thought they already made one.
Oh.
They have never made an Android phone before. Today, they announced their first Android phone. It's called the Duo.
The Duo, baby.
And
Why is Microsoft doing this again?
I ordered it already. Well, for one thing, they say...
This is a tablet, right?
It's not a phone. But it is a phone.
I feel better.
It is a phone.
The thing is, I hope people are watching the video version of this because Stacey's face. Why are they doing this again?
What are they doing? Why are they doing this? So you're referring to their ill-fated expedition into the world of mobile phones.
Well, there was the Nokia thing, but even before that, they had the Windows.
Emo 6.
They had some success until Apple's came out with the iPhone. That's really what killed Windows Phone. And then they waited while Android and Apple kind of started to dominate. And then finally they released Windows Phone, which I thought actually was quite good. By Windows Phone 8, it was a very nice operating system, but it was too late. They couldn't get in company stores. They couldn't get Verizon to recommend it. It just died on the vine. It was actually kind of sad. Then they also took a multi-billion-dollar write-off because they bought Nokia, hoping that would help them make the transition. It didn't. So they're very careful to say this is not a phone. This is the Surface Duo. I am very intrigued by this. Now, remember, we've got folding phones. We're starting to see a lot of folding phones. This is a folding phone with a hinge. It's not a single screen. The idea is there's a hinge in the middle and there's a little bit of a bezel. Here, I'll mute the sound. There's no reason you should have to hear that. Stop!
I would say that I still would call that a single screen. There's just a seam in the middle. I mean,
well, it's two screens.
It operates.
It's two screens.
Does it operate as a single screen or does it operate as two?
It can do either.
I mean, you can
do
see.
either. So this is their new launcher, for instance, and that's an 8.1-inch combined screen. So you're somewhat right to say that. This is basically a modified Android launcher. You still have the dock. You have the left-hand side.
Looks like a book, y'all.
Wait till you see the Kindle app that Amazon's done for it. It is like a book. In fact, that's one of the... I know. That's one of the killer apps as far as I'm concerned.
Well, no, because a Kindle is really effective at what it does.
I agree, but I love the idea of having two pages, turning the page, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's a 360-degree hinge. Now, remember...
You were right there, Stacey. It was continuous, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bezel between it.
But it doesn't have to be. I like it.
Doesn't
Look at
have
that.
to be.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be.
It's like... Oh. I remember when this was announced, and
Android.
We were pretty excited.
And they said they worked with Google. In fact, when this morning Hiroshi Luckheimer tweeted, "Welcome to our newest OEM." You know what? How weird this is for Microsoft, who has for years made operating systems and software that third parties would then make PCs around,
right?
To now be the OEM, and Google is providing the operating system and software.
What the hell? That's why
they're also still providing Office 365. There's always that hook somewhere.
Yeah, we talked about this on Windows Weekly this morning because they do hope this will be a productivity tool, a business tool. I don't think so. See, do you like that, Stacey? Did you see that? Nice. Let me go back.
I'm liking everything about it. I really am.
I do.
Except for this thing.
Except for that.
I don't.
See that size of that phone as she talks? That's why they're saying it ain't a phone. It's really a piece of roofing tile that you're talking into.
Well, and I didn't like you're gonna get the fingerprints on the back screen when you close it that way.
Yes, that's right.
That's not a.
But we're all used to fingerprints now. That's part of living.
No.
Oh! We found Stacey's weak underbelly.
No, it's actually not me. It's everyone in my family. Everyone in my family runs around with
greasy
lens cleaning cloths. And
oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
my daughter
crazy.
is the same way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I automatically on her machines, I'll reach out to touch the screen and she
sit down, Stacey. Oh, you're already sitting down. $1,400 for 128 gigs. $100 more, you get 256 gigs. Now, I'll give you some interesting selling points. It's less than 5 meters. Each screen is less than 5 meters thick. So together, it's 10 millimeters thick, which is less than an iPad. It's thinner than an iPad, even folded up.
That's legit.
I think it's interesting. It has a camera, but it's not a great camera. It's a 11 megapixel. Well, we don't know. It may not.
Well, I'm not going to take a picture with this thing.
You could.
Yeah. So the idea is I would put this in my bag if I were traveling.
Yes.
To go, it would replace my Kindle and my iPad.
Could it replace your phone too? You could put a SIM in
my
it.
laptop.
Yep. Okay. Works on all the major carriers.
Here's a question. If you were going to watch a movie, would you watch it over the both screens with a line, or would you take it on the half?
You may not have the choice because to span both screens, software will have to be coded to be aware of that. It's my understanding. And the way they
Netflix though would.
I mean, they could do it if Microsoft.
But would that be just too irritating to bear?
Well, they can also tent it. You can also tent it and watch it on a single screen. Yeah, but it won't be as big.
But half of it is each screen is what, Leo? I'm sorry.
You want the size?
The whole thing is 8 inches, 8.1. You said was the whole thing open?
Yes, it's an 8.1 inch. So
each half is what?
I will tell you.
Well, the diagonal's right there on the diagram. It's up there.
Like but it's not a diagonal for the. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
8.3 this diagonal, 5.6 for the single screen. So it's essential. And what's weird is it's 3:2 aspect ratio.
That is weird. Yeah.
But that's Microsoft Surface. That's what they like to do. And actually, I'm kind of fond of it. I don't mind that. Not Windows.
This thing is going to be just fine.
Planning. Like when I sit on my couch, I'm trying to think, like they actually showed All Trails, which is an app I love, in the maps. And like right now when I'm planning my hikes, I'm scouring All Trails and then opening up the maps to see how far away to drive it is. So I'm like, ooh, that's kind of a fun use case that I have both things available to me. It doesn't feel productivity like content creation because that's my job, but it could feel like productivity from the standpoint of sometimes when I'm searching news and then I want to tweet news or then I want to
B2B.
Yeah, and remember Microsoft has this app for Windows called Your Phone that will work with this. It will take the Android apps and put them on your Windows screen so you can kind of use it in a dual way. But
ironically, you can now run a Windows app in Android.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes
with a keyboard.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. The way they show it is an on-screen keyboard. Well,
you were asking about watching Netflix or something like that, and it's cool if it could span across both of those screens. But if it's spanning across both of those screens, just how much time are you spending? Expecting to spend watching a cinema on a device that's small?
I bet
on an airplane.
It would be an airplane.
I used to carry my Nexus 7 that I mourned last week on the airplane. So, it was perfect for watching a movie. It was perfect for doing productivity. It was in the pocket. I was in heaven.
But what I'm saying is you would probably just deal with that scene just for that particular circumstance. You don't want to do that every single day, I'm sure. But you would deal with it just because I'm on the plane. It ain't much else I could do.
It's, if you want to get it in perspective, it's a little bit bigger than a Nintendo 3DS, a lot thinner, but about the size of it. So, in fact, here's a picture of a kid
means as much to me as a baseball reference.
I know. But it's like a little handheld game device, kind of. I think a little too big.
Stop showing people talking on the phone. My goodness.
There's a guy watching.
Notice they're not showing a man with huge hands. In both cases, they're showing a woman with it.
Yeah.
Which is
maybe that's just because women like to talk on the phone.
No comment.
You know what it'll be good for? It'll be good for Skype calls or video conferencing calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that they were showing somebody gaming on it, and they had their buddy that they were talking to while they were gaming.
Right. You could use the screens independently. There's no Android phone I know of that'll do that. The Galaxy Fold, once you open it, that's the screen. But the two screens could each have a different app in them, which is interesting. It's kind of like split screen on a Samsung device or an Apple device. But I think there's something about a physical hinge with a little bezel that just separates the two in a more it seems more natural.
It is interesting. Leo, at the bottom of the Surface Duo page, it shows the charger and the cord and the thing. And then it has this weird kind of like bumper. License plate holder thing. What is that?
So, yeah, it's a bumper. We talked about this on Windows Weekly because I said, why is that? Paul and Mary Jo got a briefing from Microsoft yesterday about this device.
As well, they should.
But they didn't address it. But I think what we came up with, and we may be wrong, this is a protective bumper that goes on. It comes with it. And I think what they're concerned about is that people are going to have the phone and they're going to go, and that's that, and slam it shut. And it's going to crack the screen. So the bumper, I bet, is a little stopper to keep you from slamming the screen.
Why does it have that big left margin?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
So maybe that's how you hold it in your hand, so that your thumb is not on the screen, because it's low bezel.
There
right?
you go.
It's a small bezel.
Well, it's not teensy weensy bezel.
Well, but it's big enough that would create a holding spot.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
nice. It's nice.
What do you
think?
Say. What's really, to me, there are a few things that are interesting. One is that it is a Microsoft Android phone. Two is that they say it's not a phone. It comes loaded with Microsoft Office, all these productivity tools. They say it's a Surface. It's part of our Surface device line. But I'm intrigued by folding phones. I was about to buy the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2. I think I've ordered this. I think this might be better. I think this might be more interesting.
I would love to go to a Microsoft store to try one, but
I can't. And
they are no more.
I don't think they have any. They did not seed reviewers with these. Marquez Brownlee does not have one, as far as I know. So they're playing it pretty close to the vest. Pre-order now, again, $13.99 or $14.99 for delivery September 10th. So I'll have it in a couple of weeks.
Which one did you order?
It looks super small in this guy's hands.
More storage.
Exactly.
Well, it is. I think it is
5.6 inches.
Yeah, it's like two phones side by side. It is fairly
small.
Two
big Samsung phones, yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly small.
Well, it's the fatness of it that's kind of.
It's a weird aspect ratio. Yeah. I don't know.
But like you said, that 3:2 aspect ratio is pretty common with Microsoft.
I love it.
I did a video for Hands on Tech this past week, and the laptop that I used had a 3:2 aspect ratio. And I remember some of the comments were talking about how they can't stand that, and like, why would you want to have 3:2? Because Netflix and Hulu is going to look like crap on those types of screens. And the answer is, it's not for that. This is for getting work done. This isn't for entertainment. So it makes perfect sense.
They do show people watching videos on it. I think it's not as weird when you have it folded, tented, and you're just looking on one screen.
Right.
I wish if I had $1,400 to spend, and I wasn't going to spend it on furniture, but I have a house to furnish right now, I would buy this because I'm really interested. I think I would use it in ways that are surprising and novel. And I hope this does well, because I would like to see other people iterate on this concept.
Thank you, Stacey.
I would use it too, and not just specifically from the content creation side, like you were saying earlier, but there are some use cases where I'd like to have one screen open to an app and the other screen be for part of the research and note taking and things of that nature. I would love to be able to have Google Maps on one screen and the note taking app on another screen as I'm planning out a photo walk, and taking notes on, all right, I need to make sure I go at this time. And, I'd love that.
It's very
intriguing. Do you hear us, Microsoft? You should send us this because I think we could play really well with it.
As far as I know, the only person who has one is our friend Harry McCracken, who actually interviewed Satya and Panos Panay, who's in charge of hardware at devices at Microsoft. He interviewed both of them and got one. So he's going to join us tomorrow on Tech News Weekly. He'll be our guest.
Sweet.
With Jason, who will be very interested in this because he's the host of All About Android, and Micah Sargent, who will also be very interested because he's the host of Hands on iOS or iOS Today and Hands on iOS. So I think that you know what? We very rarely get a new form factor.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see. It's also interesting, again, because Microsoft is now shipping Android phones, which even though they say it's not a phone, I think it's kind of weird. It's kind of interesting.
They're shipping hardware and they're shipping a service.
Yeah.
That's all they're looking at.
That's right. That's right. And they see it as a continuum. By the way, you can use the Surface pencils with it. I presume that means I can use this pencil that came with this Lenovo as well. I mean, I think it's the same kind of pencil. Maybe not, but
right.
I have a few Surface pencils lying around. So if you like to jot notes or sketch, you could do that too. It's a really interesting device. I'm really pleased to hear you and Stacey say how interested you are in this, because I thought it was just me.
When we did the live stream way back when we were actually in the studio, Mr. Sargent and I were in the studio and did the Microsoft event. And that was the last thing that they showed that we almost missed because they just sort of, here's this other device that we want to talk about. We were, both of our jaws dropped because it looked like an interesting device, brand new form factor that's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
Although, let me just remind y'all of one of my favorite non-devices that I don't know if that ever made it out there, the Surface Table. Do y'all remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, yes, bring it. I want to see this in action.
They had them in hotels and casinos.
Yeah.
I've used it. It was I think it was on a cruise ship. It's a weird device. The idea, though, is you put something on it would sense it. So if you put your camera on it would show pictures and stuff. It was a very interesting device. This is actually the great-great-great-grandchild of that because it's using that Pixel Sense technology they bought, I think, for the Surface Table.
I don't want to be a naysayer, but as I think about it more and more, I agree. It's cool. Gee, I want one because I'm that kind of guy, inquisitive. But I could imagine finding myself using just one half of the screen constantly.
Yeah, see, that would
imagine a lot of apps.
Then you should just have a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Microsoft's going to have its apps adapted, but developers will have to jump on the bandwagon to take advantage of this. The good news is...
consider how badly apps work, Android apps work on the Chromebook.
That's what's interesting to me. Android tablets have failed. It's a failed category because nobody wanted to adapt their apps for a different form factor. Same thing with the same problem the Chromebook faces. But this, if an app is just an app, it'll look normal in the 5.6-inch screen. But if you do adapt it, it could be smart about it. And some of the Microsoft apps are smart. They showed... Adobe, I don't know if it was a PDF reader, but it would have the form here and the thing you're filling out bigger on the right so you could write with a pen to sign your name or whatever. So I think some apps will be adapted. And they did say Amazon has adapted the Kindle app so it has that nice page turn. I think this might be like reading a book, which will be very interesting.
I wouldn't do much of that, but it'd still be cool to have.
Yeah. Well, I'll get one. I'll have it September 10th. We'll talk about it.
The thing about it is, though, it's something I think you have to spend some real time with.
Yes.
To see if it.
That's kind of my attitude. That's why I buy all the phones I review because I want to spend enough time with it to give it a fair review. I think the 2-week, I got a loaner 2-week. Now we're going to send it back. Reviews aren't that useful.
I feel like you can spend a lot of time with the device in 2 weeks, but that's just me.
You can.
You can, but it definitely takes an effort.
Invested into it.
But I will say, like, as a smart home person, having the stuff in your house for the long haul does change how you report on it.
Yeah.
The problem with this one is, sorry, Stacey. The problem with this one is I really want to take it on the road.
Yeah, no one can take it on the road right now.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, you could, Jeff. You would just have to pretend. Here's what you do. You wake up super early. You sit in your car for a while, and then you go and you find another uncomfortable place to sit, like a closet maybe, and then you hang out there for 4 hours. And every now and then your wife can yell at you. How's that?
Why are you in the closet?
The new electric car that they announced this week, or they're just going to get 500
Lucid?
miles? The Air, I think it is. What is it?
The Lucid Air?
Yeah, the Lucid Air. Have you seen the back seat, the luxury back seats in that?
Oh, no.
Let's take a look.
So the back seats of the luxury version are like a business class seat on an airline.
Oh, yeah.
So I just have to go sit.
Ooh,
this 500 miles, it's got me. Keep going. You'll see how they fold down.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Now, Stacey, you're also a electric car owner. So I'm going to say something. You can say whether I'm full of it or not. I think that only people who don't have an electric car worry about the range of their electric car. Once you get one, a couple 100 miles is all you need.
And I think you're in the cult, Leo.
No, I was
look at that.
about range.
There you go. That's what it is.
Whoa.
But I will say,
it's a recliner.
Living in a rural area, I think those people have legit range anxiety.
Well, yeah. If you don't live anywhere near a charger, you're right. Yeah.
Well, no, I think if you just don't live in a suburban area or a city,
right?
Because the type of driving you're going to do is a little bit different.
Well, so some people shouldn't own electric vehicles. That might be one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Because I think you need a pickup truck, Stacey, is what you need.
What? No, I will never drive a pickup truck.
They're very useful.
They're useful. Well, I would drive a
what the hell? Get to the
This
car.
is one of those car reveal videos that doesn't actually show the car. Oh, here comes the car. It's Lucid. It's who makes the Lucid? Who is Lucid?
It's a new company. It's a former Tesla guy.
Oh, interesting.
Hopefully it's not Fisker.
Fisker designs pretty cars, but he has some.
Ooh.
That is one more thing to break. That's all I got to say about that.
Stacey, you speak as a veteran of the gadget wars. This is a nice looking car. Yeah, but I'm gonna get a Ford. I decided to get my cars from people who make cars from now on. Oh, that's our bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge. All right. I like the reclining seats. Oh, wait a minute. I just missed. I was about to see the
seats. Yeah,
the seat video here. Let me jump ahead.
Jeff, are you shopping for a new car?
Not now.
Did they say how much this is going to cost?
No. Since March 10, Stacey, I've gotten 2 tanks of gas. I've only gone through half the second one.
That's why you don't need a 500-mile.
I haven't bought a tank of gas since September 2015.
Right. That's right. She's all electric, baby. Isn't it nice not having to go to the gas station?
Oh, I hated it so much.
Oh, they have 3 different sizes. They have... Wait a minute, what?
Emotional style?
What's the emotion? Oh, I see. They combine the 3 into 1. So it's...
I want the smallest.
Well, this is a BMW, and that's a Mercedes. This is the Lucid in the middle.
It's pretty slick.
They're saying more leg room than either the BMW 750.
If it actually gets made. There it is. The seat's down. Yeah, there.
I really like that.
That's gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
The reason they do that, by the way, is a lot of the usage for this is as limousines or Ubers. Right. So you want to have the back seat as the executive seat. That's where your passenger
snoring back
there. That's the thing. If I were to ever get one of these, I'd have to be in the front seat all the time.
Right.
I'd like to enjoy the back seat.
Optional executive rear seating, later availability. Inspired by an executive jet.
That's pretty cool.
I'll have to ask Bull Salmon about it.
But you're still waiting on Ford, right?
Yeah, I'll get mine end of the year. Yeah, that's fine. The Mustang Mach-E. I ordered the first edition. So let's take a break. When we come back, a New Jersey Supreme Court ruling you won't like. Ruh-roh. But first, Snaggy, I got to find the ads. I closed them. What am I doing? I'm not all here today. I don't know what it is.
I am with you. I need a shirt. I'd rather be watching Kamala. No, that's over.
It's over? Oh, good. Thank God.
We got Stacey back. I contributed to the Microsoft device stuff. I just don't care about TikTok.
Yeah, no, you were good. You were good. You rocked it. You've done your job. You can
as always.
I can just check out from now on.
Zone out for the rest of the show. Our show today brought to you by, customer data is kind of like that carton of milk that you've been leaving in the fridge. And after a while, you have to look at the date because if you forget to check the date and you open the milk, and you're going to regret that. It goes bad. So does customer data. 30% of customer data goes bad every year. Melissa, our sponsor, is the company that makes your data accurate and current so you can reach the right customers. Sending duplicates annoys customers. You don't want to miss customers. You want to make sure that when you get a customer, whether it's in your shopping cart or on the phone with a customer service representative, that you get the right address, that you get the right email, that you get the information you need to serve the customer right. Melissa's been doing that for over 35 years. They make sure your data is accurate, and they make sure your data is current, and they do it in an amazing way. You can verify addresses, emails, phone numbers, and names, and you can do it in real time. They have an API. A lot of companies have added this to their customer service portal or to their shopping carts so that when customers enter or, fat finger some data, it gets fixed. Duplicated records, that's always a bad thing. It makes it easy for bad data to find its way into your system. I used to get 5 catalogs from Restoration Hardware, the same catalog. That cost them money, and it annoyed me. You don't want to annoy your customers. Melissa can help you verify the data as it comes in at the point of entry. And Melissa's matching and deduplication tools will help you uncover, merge, and purge hard-to-find duplicate records so you have an accurate view of your customers. They have a flexible deployment. You could choose from on-prem. A web service that you can use FTP with their secure FTP service. Upload a file to get it cleansed. They have SaaS delivery. Choose the way that works best for you, including their API. And you'll be glad to know Melissa continually undergoes independent security audits to reinforce their commitment to data security, privacy, and compliance requirements. They're absolutely dedicated to protecting your data. They've implemented strong controls and safeguards that those audits are regular. That's why they're the address experts trusted by over 10,000 businesses. You not only can identify your customers, you can add demographic information to your records, property and mortgage data, marital status, social media handles. They'll fill in the gaps, adding emails and phone numbers. You can also use their prospect data. This is pretty cool. You can identify current customers, and then they can help you find new prospective customers with that prospect database. Melissa is also doing something really good during COVID-19. They're supporting communities and qualifying essential workers. If your organization qualifies, you'll get 6 months of Melissa free. Apply online at the site melissa.com/twit, MELISSA, melissa.com/twit. Don't put up with sour customer contact data. Try Melissa's APIs in the developer portal. It's easy to log in, sign up, and start playing in their API sandbox anytime, day or night. Get started today with 1,000 records clean free at melissa.com/twit. melissa.com/twit. Now, this is the New Jersey Supreme Court.
So, it doesn't really matter.
The problem is the courts go back and forth on this. Do you have a right not to unlock your phone? Does it violate
with the police? With the
police. Does it violate? Yes, you can unlock your phone anytime you want. But can the police demand that you do it? Or does that violate your Fifth Amendment right against unreasonable search and seizure? New Jersey's Supreme Court has now ruled that compelling a suspect to unlock his or her cell phone does not violate the Fifth Amendment. You may remember a couple of months ago, Indiana's Supreme Court says it does. They're just divergent cases, which I guess means that we're going to have to wait till there's a Supreme Court ruling on this, right? The case was focused on an allegedly corrupt cop named Robert Andrews, a former Essex County sheriff who allegedly tipped off a suspect about a pending police investigation. Under police questioning, the suspect said, "Oh, Andrews told me to get a new phone to avoid a police wiretap." He also said, "Yeah, he helped me identify an undercover police cop in unmarked police vehicles." So the police seized 2 iPhones belonging to the police officer, but they couldn't unlock them. And Andrews refused to unlock them based on his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. That's what it is, not search and seizure. That's fourth. This is against self-incrimination. But on Monday, the case appealed to the New Jersey Supreme Court, and they rejected that Fifth Amendment claim.
Hey, couldn't they just grab the text from the other dude's phone?
Yeah, or from phone company records, or yeah, okay. You'd think.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
This is a prosecutor with an axe to grind. Okay.
Could we just also just say, I forgot my password, like everybody else on the planet does? No, seriously. Just, I forgot my password.
Well, you can unlock it. You'd be forced to unlock it with your thumb.
No, you don't have to have that enabled.
True.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons.
You could be
not
put in.
to have
Who was
Face
put in
ID
jail?
finger.
Who was put in jail for a long time for contempt for just not following the.
Yeah, there was a child pornographer who would not unlock his hard drives. So spent a couple of years in jail. Now I can't remember how that case
finally got
was
freed.
resolved.
I think he got freed.
Yeah. So the Supreme Court said the right against self-incrimination only protects defendants against testimony, not the production of incriminating documents. By the way, there's cases that disagree with this. Testimony usually refers to speech, but that's not always the case. Sometimes a defendant can reveal information by his or her actions. For example, if the government doesn't already know who owns a phone, then forcing a defendant to unlock it amounts to forced testimony that the defendant's the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Court said you can't do that. But since the phones are registered in his name and were in his possession, they said, yeah, obviously you know the passcode. So if he's forced to enter the passcodes into his own phone, according to the New Jersey Supreme Court, he is not revealing any information the government doesn't already know. They know he owns it.
Okay. So playing dumb on the password still doesn't matter because they know you own it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
So this is the crux of it is courts have for a long time said we can force you to produce documents. Even if they incriminate you, that is not a violation of the Fifth Amendment. For instance, the government can order the defendant to unlock the safe even in the pursuit of incriminating documents. So this does sound kind of like that. And this is the case that you were talking about, Jeff. A Philadelphia man was released from jail after 4 years of being held in contempt because he refused to unlock the hard drives of Vermont federal court, Colorado federal court, Virginia state court, and Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, as well as the Indiana Supreme Court, all held that you can't. They rejected his argument that the Fifth Amendment gave him a right to refuse to unlock his hard drives. But in Florida, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, the courts have held forcing people to provide computer or smartphone passwords violates the Fifth Amendment. So
stay out of Jersey if you know what's good for you.
Now New Jersey, Indiana, Vermont, Colorado, Virginia, and Massachusetts versus Florida, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. I guess it's really...
So, are we ready for a news story?
Yeah. Oh, we're done.
All right. Do y'all have the Twitter features that let you only talk to certain people?
Not yet. Do you, y'all?
I do.
I do.
You do too, Nat?
Yes, sir. But I'm not utilizing it. It's fairly public.
When you say only talk to certain people, you mean that only some people can... You can say who can't reply to you, right?
Everyone, people I follow, are only people I mention.
Those are the three choices. Who can reply to your tweets?
To a specific tweet or blanket?
whenever I write a tweet now, I have an option
for that tweet.
Yes. So when I say what's happening, I can do everyone can reply, people I follow, or only people I mention.
Yeah, and they additionally put on a governor on the number of replies you can have, right?
I believe so. I'm not
that's
a viral.
That's in here somewhere. Yes.
Where would you see that? Do you see it after you press the tweet button?
The reply limiting
when I press
feature,
the tweet, or when I retweet with a comment.
Okay. So in order to test this, I actually have to tweet.
Correct.
You don't actually just hit the button.
Well, you can just see it at the bottom.
You'll see
you don't have it. Yeah.
I don't
have it. Maybe they're giving it to women and people of color first because we're the most.
Because you're better.
Maybe.
Because we're the most maligned people on Twitter.
I have after the Twitter hack, I set my account to private. So maybe it doesn't make sense if you have a private account.
Oh yeah, if your account's already private,
that would be pretty.
No one can talk to you
obnoxious.
Anyway.
Nobody can talk to me anyway.
Nobody can see it, and if you could, you can't reply, but you can't see it. But I feel better because you can't reply.
Hey, who here has more than 500,000 followers? Who has 2 thumbs and more than 500,000 followers? This guy.
Who used to be the most followed person on Twitter.
So does it make any difference if you make your account private and you have 500,000 followers? You're not that private.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just didn't want any Bitcoin fraud on my account.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
But it had nothing to do with being verified in the end. It's just who they picked on, right?
Yeah, but at
the time we didn't know.
And if they had that God mode, they could have easily turned private mode off and then tweeted for me. So,
I was gonna point that out to you, but then I was like,
it's minor. It's a minor protection. But I would like to say here and now, if you don't follow me and you see a tweet from me, it's not from me.
There's that.
I was gonna say I said it was dumb kids, and I was right.
It was.
Yeah, you were.
It was a 19-year-old recent high school graduate, not named Kirk. But he did have pointy ears, so we thought maybe he's a Star Trek fan. We didn't know.
But then wouldn't he be Spock?
Yeah, but maybe he wanted to be. Maybe he's saying, "I'm the captain now." I don't know.
Okay.
So then we have Meeterial design.
What's that?
So I got upset because on my Gmail it suddenly had a bar on the bottom that said email meet. And it took away space from my email on my screen. And I didn't know what to do. I got very upset. I got very angry, and I was very unhappy. And I went looking around. And luckily, The Verge has a piece about how to get rid of that 5 steps in. But then,
it does?
Because it does. You can get rid of that. But then, here we go. Let's do this. So you go to the settings, you pick your account, then you go to the Meet thing, and you can click off.
So you don't like this extra button here?
I hate it. I never have used Meet that way.
So we're looking. First of all, I don't use the Gmail app, but
well, that's just because you're you.
Oh, the Gmail app's terrible. So, but you're using the Gmail app. Has it gotten better? This is one of the reasons it's terrible. At the bottom, you can choose between looking at mail and looking at meetings. Is that what that button means?
Or making a meeting? No, I think starting an email or starting a meeting.
Oh. So Stacey just did it. So you select the hamburger
so
icon,
much better, right, Stacey?
In the upper left-hand corner, scroll down and tap on Settings. Select the Gmail account you want to change. Scroll down to the Meet category and uncheck Show the Meet tab for video calling.
That was the most helpful thing that has come of this show.
Wasn't it? You're welcome.
It gave you one more message in your view.
Right.
Yeah, I know, but one message counts. I'm with you, Jeff.
Yes. Hey,
I mean,
I'm not. I
wasn't that angry, but I appreciate knowing how to change it.
I just wanted to. I wanted to get rid of it. So then below that, Google's been pushing Meet everywhere they possibly can.
They really have, yeah.
So now they have Meeterial design.
Meeterial design.
It's just funny.
Okay, I have to hand paste this. Hold on.
Yeah, the spreadsheet's acting weird.
Well, it's just life. I'm really excited about Google's new design system, Meeterial design, and he's pointing out how is meat is everywhere. Meat.
Well, you do remember they had a pretty small marketing department,
which is when you
where's that?
Schedule. There it is. That is it.
Google Meet video conferencing.
Everybody forgets to do it. We have half the faculty trying to go to Meet and half the faculty in Zoom.
Oh, we've had that happen many times.
Yeah, you have to turn it off because it's there by default.
Turn it off after you put the address in.
I fall for it all the time. I'm sitting all alone in a Google Meet, and there's nobody there. And they said, well, what are you doing there? Well, that's the link in the calendar.
Yeah.
Irritating as hell.
Irritating.
But you gotta admit though, that's how you have to market it and raise awareness, is just keep putting it everywhere, because it's not like they're great at general marketing and getting everybody's attention like other companies. So
is this an example?
It's not like they only have one kind of messaging conferencing app.
Yeah, there's that.
So.
Is this an example, as Mark Cantor tweeted, of a monopolist behavior leveraging an existing property to take on a competitor?
Oh, come on. It's not going to work. Nobody uses me.
So does that make it less monopolistic if it doesn't work? Yeah.
It's still monopolist behavior. It's just not influencing anyone.
It just doesn't work.
Did you read Mike Masnick's thing about Google's his ad debacle? Like he had to take ads off of TechDirt because
Mike's going to be on Twitter on Sunday, so I want to I know about this so I can ask him. So is it on TechDirt? Oh yeah. Why are there currently no ads on TechDirt?
There it is.
Apparently, Google thinks we're dangerous.
Oh no.
That basically puts him out of business.
Well, the challenge is, and he talks about this, really, he does a really good job explaining how Google keeps flagging things on his site for being basically some sort of problem. Oh,
this is what the Federalist was. This was the...
Yes.
They were complaining that, remember the stories from the right that the Federalist and other right conservative journals were being defunded by Google because, but what it is if they see content on a page that they don't think advertisers will want to be near, they'll just say, well, you can't put ads on that page. The truth is, says Mike Masnick, AdSense content moderation just sucks. Tons of websites deal with the same kind of policy violation notice from Google all the time. 2 weeks ago, it went into overdrive for us at TechDirt. We started receiving policy violation notices at least once a day, frequently multiple times a day. Every time the message was the same, telling us we had violated their policies, they don't say which ones, and that we had to log in to our AdSense Policy Center to find out what the problem was. Every day for the ensuing week and a half until we pulled the ads down, we would get more of these notices, and every time we'd log in, we'd get an ever-rotating list of violations. Do you think it's possible somebody's got it in for
That's
Mike?
what I'm wondering. That's exactly what I'm wondering. Otherwise, we'd hear this happening 100 times.
Yes, but this is, that's a pretty abusive thing to do. And it's a problem that Google doesn't have a way for his team to reach out and say, it's kind of like when you call the police and you're like, hey, it's highly likely that I will be swatted. So please document that.
Right.
Google doesn't have that service.
Google also started claiming our daily emails, which are just snapshots of the blog, were phishing attempts, automatically deleting them from any G Suite user's email account.
Somebody's going after him. Somebody. Partly maybe because he poo-pooed the Federalist story.
Possibly. But Mike makes enemies right and left by fighting the good fight.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah. We had him on Twit a few months ago. We're going to have him on a Twit again Sunday. I will definitely ask him about this.
We had him on Twig, too.
Yeah.
He was on this show.
Right. He was on Twig. And he wasn't on Twit. You're right. He was on Twig.
This show.
So he's on the big show this time.
Hey.
I feel really lousy when you call this the not big show. I think our show is good.
It is the big show.
Or the kitty
This
table.
show, no.
We're the precursor to the big show.
No. The post-cursor. This show is our deep philosophy show.
Hey, I really don't want to be on a deep philosophy show.
No, that's what she hates. She hates
I am a tech nerd. I would like to talk about tech.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't understand that all this time. I wish you told me.
Can we talk about chips?
I had no idea. Okay. Well, that's why we put you on this show, to make it less philosophy and more chips.
Chips.
Let me find a chip story.
Don't see any chips.
No.
She said, "Oh no."
Well, we have the reallocation of spectrum. That's up Stacey's.
Oh, that's a big story. Yes.
Oh,
we can do that.
The Defense Department has finally agreed to give up some spectrum they use in the 3.0 gigahertz range. It'll be applied to consumer 5G. So that's not millimeter wave, but it is a high frequency.
Yeah, 3.5 gigahertz. Woo woo.
It's not a huge amount of frequency. It's only 100 megahertz of frequency. But
is it one channel?
I guess
because if you have one channel that's 100 megahertz wide, you can put a lot of data in those hertz.
Oh, so that's the.
If your phone is already made and is already supposedly 5G, does this not help that?
No, because you would need chips that work at this, unless they somehow have a 3.5 gigahertz chip.
So this is nice.
And if the U.S. Sorry, Ant, go ahead.
I was assuming the phones have the 2.4
That's
gigahertz?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, so spectrum policy is like they plan like 10 years out is not abnormal to think like so.
Yeah,
when you're thinking about
going to be freed up for some time. It's just
we actually have already some 3.5 gigahertz spectrum.
There'll be a spectrum auction in December of 2021, followed by a mid-2022 consumer deployment.
Wow. Okay.
Oh wow, that far.
We just did. Yeah. So we just did CBRS in the same band. So we did a citizens broadband radio service in the same band. That auction just concluded.
Thank God, CB Radio has a new home. That's how long this takes. That is CB, right? It's now they call it rebranded as Family Radio, but Family Radio Service. But it's the old CB.
I don't know if it's the old CB radio service.
FRS is the old CB. Yes.
Okay. Because CBRS, and that's 150 megahertz in the 3.5 gigahertz band, which technically runs from 3.55 to 3.7 megahertz.
But if you go to Jeep Jamboree this year, make sure you bring your CB radio. By the way, they call this mid-band because there's 600 megahertz 5G. That's the stuff T-Mobile's doing. It's not particularly fast or anything, but it's 600 megahertz, so it goes through walls. There's millimeter wave, which is where is that? 20 gigahertz? It's really high.
They say it's between 24 and 39 is what we're calling it.
Really high, and that bounces off tin foil. That bounces off your nose. That
bounces off water.
Doesn't go through anything, but it's fast.
Well,
so this is in between.
You have to think about it this way, right? So you've got there's a couple things. So we saw that chart last week where we saw how far things can travel and then how it can go through walls or not, or water or whatever, how fast it attenuates.
That was a really good graphic, yeah.
Yes. So how fast your radio waves drop off. The other thing you have to think about when you're talking about spectrum is channel width. So when you get to those higher ranges, nobody's using that very much. And because there's so much attenuation, it's just overall it's been less useful. So it's not as crowded. So you can have these really fat channels. So 100 megahertz wide.
Oh, is that why you get so much bandwidth?
And that's why you get so much bandwidth.
It's nobody wants it.
Yeah, it's 600 megahertz. Everybody's there. You've got 10 megahertz channels, maybe 20 if you're lucky. And the carriers, they have to split that between upload and download.
So that makes sense. So
that's where all of this is coming from.
It's a trade-off that you have to make between penetration and availability, usability, and speed.
Yeah.
So this will be a little. They have 100 megahertz, but they didn't say whether that's one band.
Yeah, and channel width is super nerdy, y'all. This is where Jeff is like.
I knew you'd like it.
I love it. Keep talking.
But that's one of the things where people are like, it's an under discussed element there. But if you can with the millimeter wave stuff, they can even talk about they're talking about 60 gigahertz, right?
Wow,
which is crazy.
Right.
But that doesn't even go through a bush. It's like me to my camera right here.
Yeah,
it's like oh bam, a lot of data really fast.
And that's why we always talk about
that would be useful in the home, right? For devices to talk to one another, that type of spectrum.
There was a whole standard that tried to use that, but it actually sucks in the home.
Because it fries your liver.
No. Oh. The reason is because we're giant bags of salt water and we walk around our homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're the worst. So it really is only useful line of sight applications. And really
that's why
specialized line of sight applications. Probably.
You're giant bags of salt water.
We are.
Salt water.
We're bad for Wi-Fi.
I thought you didn't like philosophy. That was a highly philosophical statement you just made.
That's all we are.
We're just giant bags of
salt water in the wind.
There's Stacey's existentialism.
There we go.
So the problem is that this mid-band is typically used by military. And so this was a big deal. The White House announced the DoD has agreed to relinquish a mere 100 megahertz of that 3.5 gigahertz spectrum.
Here's my next question. So that's in the U.S. The same thing's not happening in Europe, right? No. So your 5G hearing
is
separate everywhere. There.
Yeah, it's different everywhere.
Well, so there are efforts every time the FCC looks at this stuff, and all the chip companies, they make efforts to try to get everybody on the same bands. Obviously, that doesn't work. But things like Wi-Fi, some of the CBRS stuff that's in this band will be internationally congruent. There's actually a word for this, and I can't think of it right now. But yeah, so the answer is sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
When it works, though, it's really good because that's fewer radios in your devices and fewer SKUs for a big vendor.
Thank you, Stacey.
You're welcome, Jeff.
Fascinating.
I feel better. Thank y'all.
Yeah, now I feel like I need some Gutenberg philosophy or something.
Did you know?
I never really knew about channels like that. I will promote. That's what's fascinating. The channel width. That I never even knew anything about that. That's really fascinating.
Happy to help.
Today is the anniversary of the release of the IBM PC in 1981, August 12th, 1981.
Pissed me off so much.
What?
So I had my Osborne 1. I didn't want big old IBM to come into this. This was nerd territory. IBM, big old IBM.
Was it 1981?
Yep.
And the Mac was 84?
84. It was a good decade, the 80s.
The Apple II was 70 what? 9?
I'm drawing a blank.
77 or 78, I think.
78.
Yeah.
I had my Osborne 1, which I love. Stacey, don't even. You're gonna make an old man
I'm
joke.
not doing anything.
Did you know?
You're gonna do
it. From the Did You Know department, according to Gizmodo, Boeing 747s use floppy disks to get software updates.
Well, not very often, considering most of the 747s are going to Mojave.
But you don't want one with a bad firmware.
No, because we do want to land.
Yeah. It's part of the DEF CON hacker convention, which just ended in, I was going to say in Vegas, but everywhere in the world because it wasn't in Vegas.
Right.
Pentest Partners, a cybersecurity firm, showed off a video walkthrough of a British Airways 747 after BA decided to retire its entire fleet last month due to the pandemic. Lots of interesting stuff, including the discovery of a 3.5-inch floppy disk drive By the way, very thoughtful. Right next to it, diskette stowage. So you can put your diskettes.
And they have to label it like everything on the plane.
Yeah, latch closed, diskette stowage. You don't want diskettes flying through the air. It's the 747's navigation database loader. It has to be updated every 28 days. So every 28 days, somebody has to go visit every 747-400 and deliver a floppy of updates or it won't be able to fly. Apparently, same, according to The Verge, with 737s.
Makes me wonder about like you said, the 737 as well as like the B717, especially the 717. Those are so old. And they're still flying, a lot of those.
Yeah,
today.
I mean, what would you expect? The 747 came out in 1988. All we had was floppies. It could have been worse. It could have been a zip disk.
Zip disk.
Or it could have been a 5.5.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to post those on when I was an RA. I used those as my door markers. I decorated them with paint, and the kids would come up and they'd be like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Nerd.
Actually, it wasn't until last year that the U.S. military stopped using 8-inch floppy disks to manage our nuclear weapons system. In 2018, here's more trivia. This has become the article of floppy trivia. In 2018, 2 years ago, floppy disk sales went up because small indie music labels started releasing music on 3.5-inch diskettes.
Wait, how could you play that?
That's a really good question. It's inside Vaporwave's Mini Boom.
Is there like a USB that pops out?
Has to.
Oh, these kids.
That's pretty bizarre.
Well, no, I mean, I had a computer that took 3.5-inch floppies or 3.25 or whatever it was, but I mean, I don't have one now.
It's hard enough
Matthew
to get with an
Isom
optical drive.
Of Plunderphonic Vaporwave label Power Lunch says floppies are cheaper than cassettes. They don't have to be tediously dubbed. They look appealing. They're available in a lot of colors and have cool designs that people like. And
you don't need to put your pencil into it to rewind the tape.
That's right.
And nobody listened to it.
You can actually put out 11 minutes and 38 seconds of 8-bit audio MP3 on a single floppy. There's labels that do this. They sell them on... Oh, they buy the floppies on eBay. And I guess, you know, if you're that into this, you must have a floppy player.
Oh, you can buy one for $27 on Amazon.
There you go. And does it have a serial connection, or can I actually connect it to my USB port?
Let's see.
That's the question.
Connection. No, it looks like a USB.
Yeah. Nice. Apparently, this whole thing, there was a mini boom.
Very mini, micro, nano.
USB. Oh, old school USB.
Yeah, the readers are 2.0, USB 2.0 from what I'm pulling up.
That's more than fast enough.
Yep. For a whole 8 megabytes.
Stacey, when you were in Austin, I forgot. Did you like the Alamo Drafthouse? Did you like to go visit there?
I did up until, I liked their events. It was always a little kind of, they were the newer reclining seat things, that the dinner theaters that took over after Alamo succeeded, those were much nicer. Alamo's a little dingy.
I like the dingy, and I like the tacos and the beer. Well, it became a chain. In fact, we have one in San Francisco now. But as you might imagine, they're not exactly thriving during quarantine. So now they're offering
drive-in?
No, private theater rentals. For $150, you can invite 30 of your friends to rent out an entire Alamo Drafthouse. They have 40 different movies to choose from. It's called Your Own Private Alamo. You do have to buy $150 of food as well. This is Austin, Denver, and you can choose. These are the movies you can choose from. They sanitize them. It's up to the guests whether they want to wear face masks and local laws. It is a private screening. And you remember Alamo was famous for the
list is terrible.
Oh, it's awful movies.
I thought it might be current releases or something.
No. There are no current releases. Haven't you noticed?
Well, something you might have missed.
But some of these would be fun. Like,
a couple gems
I actually, most of the Alamo movies I went to was actually
were old movies.
Like old movies. Like I went to the Princess Bride's sing along.
Perfect.
Or along rather.
You got a kid's birthday party? You could show Trolls. Everybody
so $300 bucks. $300 for all of this.
To be able to rent out the Alamo for that much.
The Goonies, Sugarland Express,
you know
Uncle
what?
Buck.
You know what I miss terribly besides Taco Bell?
What?
Movie popcorn. I really miss it. I want some greasy, salty.
It's terrible for you, yeah.
Oh, I know what I want.
The same way. My dad was the same way.
Dude,
he used to send my stepsister out.
Yeah, you can buy the popcorn in the box, and it tastes just like it.
Yeah, we said the same thing to him, and he continued to send my stepmother and my stepsister out pretty regularly.
Get me popcorn. I need popcorn.
How large would he get? You gotta get the giant one because it's coming home.
As big as they could get, because my dad could eat.
The bucket.
You know,
bring the bucket.
There is one last Blockbuster in the world. It's in Bend, Oregon. And now
that's in my neck of the woods.
Well, get ready. You can go to Airbnb's offering sleepovers at the rate of $4 a night at the world's last Blockbuster. They're having VHS.
$4 a night?
Per person, I'm sure. They're offering VHS-fueled movie nights at a temporary Airbnb complete with pull-out couch, bean bags, and unfettered access to the store's entire film collection on VHS.
Stop in like the early aughts.
The store has a bathroom, but there's no shower. There will be snacks, including popcorn, gobstoppers, nerds, Raisinets, and Laffy Taffy, plus endless hand sanitizer. You must be a resident of Deschutes County, and all guests must come from the same household. Friends, parties, smoking, drugs, and pets not allowed. But if you're in Deschutes, Blockbuster's got a movie for you.
What I got a kick out of was the tweets that came after Blockbuster tweeted out, and they were basically just saying, "Hey, we're just checking in." And of course,
first time in how long was it, Ant? It was like
years. Was it 6 years? Something
I think
like
so. Yeah.
They revived their
so many people started responding back. Was like, "Oh yeah, you probably want this old VHS that I've been holding on to in my living room." A lot of that in there.
Let us take a break. Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Technology, my buddies in St. Louis, WWT. They are one of the top technology solution providers in the world, delivering business and technology outcomes to large, private, and public organizations around the globe. They're the kings of enterprise tech. They're in the business, WWT is in the business of digital transformation. One of the ways they support organizations with their digital transformations is helping them adapt a multi-cloud architecture. Everybody's talking about the cloud, but there are real challenges doing it. And if you have WWT as a partner, you are lucky. WWT stays with your organization every step of the way, from your initial vision to your strategy, to turning the cloud on, to migrating to the cloud, to optimizing and managing it, and everything in between. Their cloud consultants will sit down with you. They'll help formulate a vision and a strategy. And by the way, they are really experts on process, all kinds of process. They've spent a lot of energy studying what works and what doesn't work in business. And so they can really, they know how to use the process to help you plan this migration. They know cloud investments only pay off when they're aligned to your business goals. So that's why they start with the goals first. They also offer briefings and workshops. They've been doing this for years to help some of the world's largest organizations unravel the complexities of the cloud. And man, the cloud can really unlock business opportunities for you. It is the future. Everybody agrees. But it's also a little scary and challenging. That's why to have a partner like WWT is so great. They're experts in cloud migrations. By the way, also application development. They can create a secure landing zone in any cloud with on-demand labs that give organizations access to tools for microservices and cloud-native development. Once you're up in the cloud, WWT helps you with management and optimization because they know you don't just turn it on, put stuff up there, and go home. Living in the cloud's a continuum. It requires constant attention to detail, constant tuning of the strategy and the techniques you're using. Whether you're looking for cloud-native, hybrid cloud, on-prem resources, WWT is the partner for you. They work closely with Intel to optimize for the latest cloud smart solutions based on Intel technology for security, performance, and agility. They also feature Intel's Optane persistent memory and other great Intel technologies, workload optimized to deliver affordable, large capacity and data persistence for solutions supporting everything VDI to data analytics. This is the company you want to work with. To learn more and discover why organizations across industries all over the world turn to WWT to guide them on their cloud journeys, visit wwt.com/twit. And actually, if you would, create a WWT account to access the resources there at their Advanced Technology Center ecosystem. The ATC has papers, white paper, all sorts of information. WWT is about empowering you, about sharing that information, and a lot of that is available right now for you, absolutely free. Just create your My WWT account. WWT.com/twit. Worldwide technology delivering business and technology outcomes all around the world. Silicon Valley and St. Louis, they call it. They're great people. WWT.com/twit.
So I think it's interesting that Genius lost its case against Google.
So this is Rap Genius?
Rap Genius. So they said that Google was putting up lyrics from Genius. And Google said, oh, sorry. Yeah, okay.
They proved it. They proved it because they had messed with the lyrics so that they would know if their lyrics appeared anywhere else.
They inserted codes with different kinds of asterisks.
We did the story. It was really fun.
And stuff. Right?
Google's defense was, we didn't buy it from, we were using a third-party service to do this.
Which turned out to be a lie because they were, in fact, still getting the ones from Genius because Genius spiked them with little clues.
Right.
However, Genius lost because Genius was stealing the lyrics, too. They didn't own the copyright, so they had no standing.
Obviously.
Yeah. Which I thought at the time, I thought, how can they sue Google over copyright when they don't own the copyright?
Okay. So this whole story, we did a story when they put the Morse code in the lyrics and it's spelled out red-handed. And we even asked at the time, well, do they have a license for the lyrics? Who's
right? I remember that discussion.
In fact, we guessed that, well, they must have a deal with the publishers.
They must license them. Yeah.
Apparently not.
Oh.
That's a dumb lawsuit. Didn't they have an attorney mention that? You know, guys, do you actually license those? Do you have any rights to those?
Do you have any standing in this trial?
Oh, my gosh.
While we're up in that part of the rundown, I went to my cardiologist a week ago because it's just a regular checkup because I'm an old fart and things go wrong. And he said, is tech going to solve this, meaning COVID? And I said, how? And he said, couldn't Amazon and Google get together and finally make tests that work? And I thought, well, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And Amazon has its tests, and Verily is doing tests. But if big tech got together and said, government's failed us.
Yeah, we tried that once.
Tests.
Remember that API that Google and Apple made that
I know
nobody used?
Well, the problem there is that software trying to solve the problem. This is not a software problem.
They should make the tests.
They should make
Apple
the tests.
Apple made face shields.
Distribution of the tests and do all that. They could do this. Apple
and
have the money.
Wait,
Amazon
then that just further erodes any use and utility of government. We need our government to actually do
we don't want to
right now they have failed us miserably. The thing we need most is testing. And if somebody steps, and the next thing we're going to need most is mechanisms to distribute vaccines. Knock wood, we get one. Right now, if we could all have a cheap test.
Well, the Russians have one.
A vaccine, yeah, sure. Trump will be taking it. So I just don't know. So you're right, Leo. I mean, they stepped up. Who's heard of the Tracing Act since?
4 states said they'd use it. They never did. A few nations have. Turns out nobody. You need contact tracing.
You need contact tracing when you have fewer cases. When everybody's getting it doesn't do any good.
There's nothing.
But if we do desperately need testing still, it's a huge failure, and technology could have stepped up, and they still could.
I agree.
Here's a good gig.
Throw some money at the government to help speed up the process if you have to. Just whatever it takes. You got the cash. We all got time.
We all got time. Got nothing but it. I think it's harder than that. I don't think you can just do it.
Why you say that?
Yeah, because if you could, then they would.
Amazon's making its own tests. Google's making its own tests. What they need is scale.
Oh, Amazon, Google make their own tests?
Yeah, Google.
They don't get them from somebody else, from Abbott or somebody. They actually have a Google COVID test.
I'm telling you, if they put their heads to it, if the federal government used the Defense, whatchamacallit, Act, they could make them do it. But of course,
production.
I'm sure Amazon doesn't make its own test. They get it from Abbott or somewhere.
I think Amazon can do anything.
Okay, Verily. So Google's Verily has built its own lab. It does not have its own.
Because that's one of the problems, is because these commercial labs are
so they can build 1,000 labs.
Right.
One of the challenges facing Quest and LabCorp, the big companies that are doing this, is they can't get reagents and they can't get swabs.
Right.
So the swabs are for the testing side, but the reagents are for the diagnostic side. So.
This is one of the few times I say throw some money at the problem.
Yep.
Because it'll help.
It would help immensely. I just wanted to get it off my chest.
It looks like, is Verily doing PCR tests? Yeah, Verily is using Thermo Fisher's TACPath test kit.
So it's the third
party. Which is just an emergency use one, so it may or may not work.
There's that, but...
Amazon
can put 3,236 satellites in orbit, and they can't make some tests for us?
They can't do everything. They've got other things to do.
They can take over empty spots in malls, and they can't make some tests for us?
Biology is so vastly different than
it is hard,
tech in Silicon Valley's methodology.
Ask your COVID cardiologist, epidemiologist
my Twitter
crew.
People, my COVID Twitter list people.
Say, why doesn't Bill Gates do it? He's got some money. Why doesn't Bill just come up with a vaccine? Come on, Bill.
Well, there was a guy
Warren
from
Buffett. Throw some money at it.
Amazon is doing their own labs.
Yeah, and by the way, Gates,
they are.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has spent many millions of dollars funding test research.
And there's plenty of there's over 120-something tests out there, Jeff. They just need to be going through the process of making sure they're accurate, and that takes time.
And these are scientists at these companies. They could do it. I have faith in them. They could do it.
Why don't you make a test if it's so easy?
Take time. It's happening. It's just happening at speeds that work with, the fact that...
Just sounding more and more like you and Grandpa.
Hey.
Is this your class? Is this your class, this 45-minute history of journalism?
I plug it. I put a bit.ly link up there. This is because we are remote. What is normally done in class, I had to record as a video.
And you've made this available to anybody?
I made it available to anybody.
All comers?
The entire if you love my, I know you don't. I know you all hate it. But if you love my Gutenberg moments, here you go. The entire history of media and journalism, 500 some years in 45 minutes.
That's really good. Did you do it from notes, or you just off the top of your head?
Oh no, I did it from notes. But I did it in one take. Well, I did it in a few takes at first, but then when I did it in one take.
That's pretty neat. And did you have to hold up these books at any point, or did you just?
I did. I held up Elizabeth Eisenstein's, the printing press of the Agent of Change.
If school were meeting, would you do this as a lecture? Would this be one of your lectures?
I would do it as a discussion with the class, and I would use Meeterial, and then I'd ask them questions, and I'd.
Okay, so you don't just.
So what I had to do was I had to record. This remote learning stuff is hard, and I don't have kindergartners.
You should tell him to do download Jeff to help give you more interactive presentation.
I could have applause, and if Sarah Cooper can do it without an audience, I can. So I did one on the history, one on the business, one on the roles of journalism, and Then I'm now having discussions. Today was my first class, which felt really good. It was 100 students in one Zoom room. That is not easy.
By putting this on YouTube, you've already got 373 views. You've tripled the number of people who are influenced by your...
That's right. That's right. I can hypnotize them.
Hypnotize them.
I'd like to check this out.
It's good.
I already majored in journalism. I'm fine.
You don't want to... You don't. It's youtube.com/Jeff Jarvis.
Well, I did bit.ly/journalism history.
Okay. That's good too. bit.ly/journalism history. Why don't we take a little teeny weeny break, Rini?
Don't we have to do something before that break?
Oh, is it changelog time? Did I forget again?
No.
Oh,
you tried to, but we wouldn't let you.
Hit that drum.
I'll put my water away.
The Google changelog.
Bum 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 bum.
If you don't like the changelog,
I love the changelog.
Oh, it's
I love the changelog.
But you don't like it?
I think Karsten makes him do it.
I'm scared of Karsten. There are lots of ways. Parents now, of course, saddled with a challenging task of homeschooling, in effect. You still have classes and teachers like Mr. Jarvis, but ultimately parents are often now called upon to do things like solve math problems.
Yep.
Yep. Do you remember much math?
Have you been there, Ant?
There's some of the things I do okay with, but a lot of this stuff is totally out of my head because I don't use it. Granted, I still know Pythagoras' theorem or whatever, but I don't use that crap anymore. But that doesn't excuse me not being able to help the boys either.
No, they need help.
Sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we did an iOS Today that was all about some tools for parents who have kids at home learning. One of them was Microsoft has a math helper program that lets you take pictures of math problems and formulas and it will solve them for you. Google's getting into that business too. They're going to add a Google Lens. Unfortunately, it's later this year. We need it now, Google. Hurry. Both iOS and Android that will allow you to take a picture of math problems and get step-by-step guides on how to solve them.
So you know what you need to do, though? You need to have an option in here to do it in certain styles because there's like traditional math, there's Singapore math, there's other math, and you have to teach it the right way that your kid is learning.
Yeah, I saw something where an equation that I saw was wrong because apparently the order of operations has changed.
They've never changed the order of operations.
Something changed.
How dare they?
I believe his order of operations has changed.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's just an excuse for getting the answer wrong with his kid.
No. Don't you try that.
They changed this on me. Kids, they changed this on me.
Because the article that I was reading said, you probably guessed the answer was B or whatever. And you're wrong. And it told me why. It's because you learned on the order of operations this way. Now the answer is yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, now? What the heck is this?
Now? Well, this is the Microsoft Math Solver, which is free on the App Store and on Android. It does it as well. And Micah Sargent talked about that yesterday. So lenses will do it soon. That's pretty cool that you can do that, right? Google Search is also adding 3D molecules to help teach chemistry at home. So you can search for propanol and you'll get a...
that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
These are all things, this is great. Yeah, this is exactly what it should do. And you'll get models and so forth. Honestly, the internet is the best teacher ever.
It just takes time, folks.
You have to know where to go and where to...
No, it takes time to develop these things and see what it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give up on the internet.
No.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
No.
There is a new Google Phone app beta, which you can install from the Play Store. If you're on Android, Google's new phone app, which has some nice features, is now on the Play Store instead of kind of being installed from the factory and updated as part of the software update. So you may not see it in search, but you Try to find it. Good luck. I don't know. If you don't see it in the search, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Just keep looking. For some reason, it doesn't. This is from Android Police. You'll have to navigate to it manually. Oh, well, search Google for it and then click the link that you find, or go to Android Police because they have a link there. That's weird.
I'm not going to worry about it. I don't talk on the phone often.
Yeah, who needs a phone? I love this idea, and this isn't going to happen right away, but this is coming soon. You know that your smartphone has an accelerometer in it. Well, apparently that could be used to detect earthquakes, basically like a seismograph. Google is partnering in California with the United States Geological Survey and the California Governor's OES, Office of Emergency Services, to send earthquake alerts directly to Android devices. Now, that comes from Shake Alert, which has seismometers all over the state. But seismometers are expensive, and the plan eventually is to, with the permission of the phone's owner, you don't need a separate app. Your Android phone will become a mini seismometer. It's going to be called the Android Earthquake Alerts System. And honestly, with millions of phones, this thing could be pretty amazing.
Isn't it mean it's already happening?
No. Right now, they're using MyShake. But this Google system is coming.
No, I mean that the earthquake is already happening.
Oh, yeah, it's not an early warning system.
It's not. It's not an alert system.
Although you can detect both primary waves and secondary waves, people don't usually feel the P wave, which is the first and fastest wave from the epicenter. The S wave is the one you really notice. So it could be a little bit of an early warning. It could give you a few seconds warning when the P wave arrives. And then the S wave's on its way. You can quick and run and jump under the table. You won't have time to move out of town, but it'll give you a few seconds anyway.
I got to tell you, since coming to Northern California, it's been some weird experiences. You know, I got here and there was the first forest fire or wildfire, and then a month later there was another wildfire, and then we got into the crazy rainy season. Then this pandemic happened. And then I woke up on a Sunday morning to earthquake news that wasn't in California, but was in North Carolina.
The earthquakes, they left when you got here. They said, oh, man, Ant's here. No earthquakes. Send him back home.
Such a weird 6 months to a year
We're
now.
due, as you know, Ant. I'm sure we told you this.
Yep.
And we're due for a pretty serious shaker, but we just haven't had a big one since '89, and I don't know, you know.
How bad was it up in Petaluma?
I was in San Francisco in '89. You were in San Francisco, weren't you, during the Loma Prieta? It was pretty bad. I was actually at the World Series game. The Giants game was going on, and we're sitting here, and it starts to shake, and you know the big towers. This was at Candlestick Park that lit the field. The big light stanchions, you could see them swaying by many feet like that. And
that's
then
crazy.
All the players ran out of the dugouts into the center of the field, and they grabbed, by the way, it was really insulted. They reached up into the stands, got their wife and kids, and they all ran out to the middle of the field. And then that shook, and then we're sitting here, and it just, the lights went out, and it was scary. We knew we'd had a big earthquake. Everybody from the area knows what it feels like. But we didn't know how bad. But that's when the rumors start. Boy, you really see how that happened.
And you didn't have phones then with...
No, people are listening to the radio. The Bay Bridge is down, and it turns into the city's burning. And, you know, it's really interesting. So I was with a friend who knew the city pretty well. We drove back, and I went right to the radio station to work for the next 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
But we haven't had a big one since then. So let's see, when is this going to happen? Because this is kind of cool. You will not need an OS upgrade. It will be integrated in Google Play services, which means most Android phones will get it, except for Huawei. The Huawei phones won't get it. It's not clear when this will be available, but I think that's a really neat idea. It will give you a few seconds warning before the earthquake. Wow. Can you imagine your phone hollering? It's going to be a quake. Get out. If you got enough time, you could get outside, unless you're in a city, probably be all right to do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to, if you're downtown San Francisco, you stay inside. All that.
In your door frame.
Yeah, that fallen glass could be deadly. But apparently there is an XKCD about this from What If everybody stood next to each other and jumped? No, I don't think this is related.
No, I'm being funny. If everybody on Earth jumped at the same time,
okay,
would it register? That was the.
Would it? I don't know. We'll find out. Google Lookout can now read grocery labels for the visually impaired. That's kind of neat.
That's nice.
What is the name of that app? There is a really nice app that you can ask somebody to read a label for you if you're blind, and it's kind of a volunteer app. But this will be part of Lookout. So Lookout's still around? That's funny.
I forgot Lookout.
Yeah. So you can aim it at the camera on the phone at a label, and a computer voice will say what food it thinks you're holding, and maybe even read stuff too. But it's mostly about identifying food in the grocery store. Be My Eyes. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Oh.
Be My Eyes is a really neat volunteer app for Android or iOS, where if you're blind, you can say, hey, I need some help, and then you press a button, calls the first available volunteer, you show them a picture, and they'll explain what's going on.
Wow.
Isn't that neat? And I know a lot of people who do it. It's just fun. You know, you got a little...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you have the app on your phone. You say, I'm available anytime somebody needs me. I know. I love that. If you need...
There used to be like a Q&A app. Remember way, way back in the day where if you had a question, this was before Google was good at this sort of stuff, you would ask your question and it would actually text a person.
I think that was called...
or something?
Aardvark. You're right.
What's that?
What a memory. Yes, Aardvark.
So that went away, but this is still here. So kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was like phone a friend.
Call a librarian. Google is pushing out some updates to all Android phones running Android 6 or above. We're getting close to Android 11, but there are new features for even... So Android Auto now works with more... more cars, I think. They've also changed the user interface so you can see a list of upcoming calendar appointments while you're looking at directions. You can have a built-in dialer button if the appointment has an associated phone number. And Android Auto users should have more control over what they see over their car's infotainment. There's a new bedtime mode, not for the car. This is something we got on the Pixel phones, but other phones will now get it. And it's a kind of nice thing. It has a sunrise alarm, which kind of gradually wakes you up. Android's emergency location service is being expanded. So emergency personnel will be provided with your device's language settings. So they'll know what language you need to speak for first responders arriving on the scene. I think that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would have never thought about that until I moved here and noticed there's so many people that speak different languages.
Yeah. So that's a bunch of new features for Android, in addition to the ones we've already mentioned. And Google is testing new profile cards that let you add yourself to search results. Now, this is only in India. I'm hoping this will come to the U.S. and the rest of the world at some point. So they're testing it. It's a new user-created profile system called People Cards. You create your own profile card, kind of like a business card.
Yeah, nobody's going to spam this.
I wanted to ask y'all's opinion on this. What do you think of this being rolled out?
Well, they have to search for you.
And would you use it for your own personal profile?
Yeah, I would.
Not for someone else. Use it for yourself.
Yeah, so remember, when you search for Aunt Pruitt right now, you don't really control what shows up.
Right.
Right? Google bases it on links and so forth. This is nice. You could say, no, this is me. This is what I want you to know about
How do they
me.
verify this?
They're Google. They know everything.
Okay.
Google says it has a number of mechanisms to prevent spam and abuse of the People Card system. You create it in your Google account. You can only create a single card in each account. You have to have an authenticated account with a phone number. It will let users flag cards with bad information, or you can flag cards you think were created by an imposter. And, of course, users can delete or edit their own cards at any time.
All of that sounded good, especially with it being tied to the Google account. I just hope they actually stick to that premise, because this is just something that could very easily...
Well, you know somebody's going to try to make a Leo Laporte card.
Yep.
You know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to figure out a way to do it without that risk. But, yeah, maybe that's how you do it. You tie it to an account, something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Google changelog for this week.
It was a little loud on you.
Ben Evans, your favorite.
My favorite. It's a very good one.
It's too long for us to really discuss, but we'll put it in here so that people who are interested. Would breaking up big tech work? And this is on ben-evans.com. Can you summarize?
Yeah. It just simply that it doesn't. Regulation is going to be better than breaking up. That there's network effects, and so if you cut off Instagram and Instagram becomes Instagram, it's still going to be Instagram. You haven't really, except Facebook doesn't own it anymore. Okay, fine, but it's still Instagram. It doesn't change the factor. And Standard Oil is not a good example of what this is and what the phone companies went through and so on and so forth. So he argues for other reviews, but it's going to be unintended consequences.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. But we do agree.
There
I think
are
we all
always
agree.
unintended consequences.
That's life.
Life
is an unintended consequence.
Indeed.
Mom and Dad had other plans.
That's another philosophical statement from Stacey. I just want the record to show.
No, but I think we all agree.
Involuntary philosopher.
Some form of regulation is a good idea. I think we could agree.
Depends on what you want to do, right? But it's.
Feel bad for Mozilla. Some big layoffs. I think 250 people.
Dang.
Yeah. It's refocusing on commercial products. They're trying to make Mozilla pay better.
Well, and this is one of Ben Evans' points again in another tweet, that the government's saying, Google, you paying for exclusive access is a bad thing and it's a use of your power. Well, that actually pays most of the bills at Mozilla, which creates a competitive browser. What do you want us to do?
Yeah. That's literally how Mozilla is funded.
Yes.
And to their credit, you can say, I don't want to use Google as my search. But if you do, they'll make some money. Just as Apple pays Google pays Apple to be the default search engine in Safari. You could change it.
A lot of money.
Yeah, $11 billion, I think, last year.
Wow.
All right, your picks. Stacey, are you ready for your thing?
I am ready for my thing. This week is not actually a thing. Not because I'm lazy, but because I donate blood. And I didn't realize this, but the FDA loosened the donation qualifications. So if you have not been able to donate blood in the past, you actually may be able to donate now. So like some of the things are like for a while, if you lived in Europe for certain time periods when mad cow disease was happening, they wouldn't let you donate blood, but they've since said that's fine. Now instead of, if you have gotten a piercing or a tattoo within the last 3 months, you can't donate. But if anything over that, and it used to be 12 months. So
if
they've loosened a lot of the
thing.
restrictions.
They've reduced it from 12 months to 3 months. There's a lot of, this is good because we need blood right now.
Right. So that's the other part. So because of the pandemic, people are not donating blood as often because a lot of people, they would do it at like corporate blood drives, but we're not at work anymore. So I encourage everyone to look up your local blood works or blood organization and donate, because supplies are down in some parts of the country. They only have like a 7-day supply. And that means,
yikes.
I mean, you don't have to if it's not your thing, but if it ever was your thing and you're just kind of casual, it's time to be more active if you feel like you can.
I should start again. I stopped after I got my gallon pin.
that you got to get your 5-gallon pin.
I want a 5-gallon pin. Yeah. I thought I've done enough now. But yeah, I think I will. I'll start doing it again.
I mean, if you can. It is of all the things I do, it's one of the most risky because you're in a room donating blood with other people. Everyone's wearing a mask, but when you go to the canteen, you're not wearing your mask because you're usually shoving like food in your face.
That's a good point. Free cookies and juice. I went for the cookies, but I stayed for the juice.
I go for the chips.
You get chips?
Well, after I donate blood, I like the saltiness is great for me, so I crave them. They used to have barbecue potato chips, but now they just have Lay's. It's okay.
They don't have chips at mine. I gotta find yours. Jeff Jarvis, time for a number.
So I'm gonna do a simple one tonight. Ben Dreyer, you like Ben Dreyer, right? Ben Dreyer's English.
Yes, I have his
really
book.
funny, great grammar book.
Yeah,
and a really great Twitter account. Well, tonight with Random House, they're doing the Stet, which is his game. They're doing a celebrity Stet game that you can watch.
Oh, fun!
8 o'clock ET, meaning that's 5 o'clock your time. So it's 45 minutes from now. The Zoom sold out instantly, but the YouTube you can watch. Amy Bloom, author, Lisa Lucas, who's a major book publisher, Connie Schultz, Pulitzer Prize winning columnist and wife of Sherrod Brown, and Preet Bharara, all doing with Dreyer the English game tonight in 45 minutes, which I think would be a lot of fun.
Is it like tough grammar questions? What kind of thing does he ask?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the game. I actually want to, but I think it'll be fun. It's a game for language lovers, grammar geeks, and bibliophiles.
So let's see, do they have a link to the YouTube?
If you go to Twitter/BC Dwyer, which is his account, you'll see a link to this.
Okay.
And then you just sign up for the YouTube, and you can watch it.
Too late to register for the Zoom, but the YouTube.
Too late for the Zoom, you can watch the YouTube.
Nice. That does sound like much more fun than watching the news, which is what I was going to do after the show. Aunt Pruitt, what do you got for us?
I'll try to be quick because the recyclers are outside making a lot of noise. But my pick is for Mr. Jeff Jet. That's Jeff Jet with 2 T's, and jetfueljava.com. This is a gentleman that is big into aviation. He's actually a fueler. And of course, he's up in the Seattle-Tacoma area, so it's going to be all about coffee. Yet he has his own small business.
It looks like he has his own roasting machine.
And roasting coffee. And I heard about him on another podcast that I love. And I gave it a shot and got my beans the other day. And it's good stuff. I got the house blend, which is a blend of Colombian and Ethiopian. So it's just a little sweet. And it's a medium roast. So it's really good stuff, good pricing. And they also make a lot of donations to some good causes, such as trying to get kids into aviation, as well as supporting the Black Pilots Association. There's a lot of different things out there. His family is pretty well known in the aviation community. So I just want to give him some kudos. I thought it was cool to see this, a Black-owned coffee roaster. And he also loves aviation.
I wonder if it's Johnny Jet's brother.
They look like they may favor each other, right?
That's so cool. So cool. JETT is his last name, double T. jetfueljava.com. I love it. Our mask of the week is a discovery by Mr. Jarvis on Etsy. This is for your next Burning Man. It is, wow. It's a hood, shield. It's not really a mask. But
it will do the function.
Yeah. You could wear a mask under it for extra protection, which is what I would do.
And a hat.
It's everything, man.
And it goes around your shoulder.
It straps right on there. I like it. $49.09. And I guess this is Etsy, so it's somebody's Gizda is hand making these. That's real. I like that one. I like the jersey cotton. Be good for the winter.
Yeah, not so good for the summer.
Yeah. Over 20 people have it in their carts right now. See, this would be good. This goes, because I still would wear the mask. And I do wear a face shield, but I love the idea of having a full coverage. God knows we need
fashionable.
it. And then your wife made a Holly Hobby face shield. This is Karsten's wife? Karsten's wife. I don't know whose wife this is. We can't tell. Holly Hobby face shield. I guess that's the Holly Hobby hat. I like that. Karsten likes to wear those. And this is a mask fitter that does not require 3D printing. I've shown you my mask fitter, which I really like. And I think if you combine a mask fitter with these inexpensive surgical masks, you're getting really good mask protection. So this is the Essential Mask Brace. It's a Kickstarter. Looks like you can get it for $28 for two. So, I wear my $20 3D printed mask fitter, and it really does make a huge difference. Surgical masks, we just saw a study from Duke which said don't wear gaiters. Those gaiters that the Major League Baseball players wear, the neck scarf that you pull up. They said that actually could be worse than wearing nothing because it aerosolizes it.
But that study has been
Has it been debunked?
No, but then there was challenge.
It was challenged.
Yes.
Well, that's the way it is in this epidemic of ours. Is things change all the time. However, I don't know if this is now challenged as well, but they did say that loose surgical mask actually works very, very well, even though it's kind of loose. But you put a fitter around that. This one looks like it's more like a rubber band, so it doesn't need to be 3D printed. And I will vouch for it. The fitter with the paper mask is very comfortable and passes Dr. Mom's perfume test. She says if you spritz some perfume in the air while you're wearing this, you walk through it and you don't smell it, it's doing the job.
Oh.
So.
Oh, what a good test.
Yeah. Yeah. I sniff all sorts of things with my mask on. If I don't smell it, I'm safe. That concludes our thrilling, gripping edition of This Week in Google for your Wednesday afternoon. Stacey Higginbotham is the star of Stacey on IoT. That's a great website. It also is a podcast she does with Kevin Toffel. You can sign up for a free newsletter there too, staceyoniot.com. Thank you, Stacey. Thanks for the plants. 10 out of 10.
Yes, thank you. No, well, Stacey should thank us, I think, for what will surely be at least an 8 out of 10.
Oh, I don't know.
I roll.
Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. He is the director of the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. And we have now proven he can talk for 45 minutes straight. Very impressive. His Twitter list is at bit.ly.
Give me Gutenberg, man.
Covert Twitter list.
You can't stop me.
Can't stop him. Can't stop him.
Nope.
Aunt Pruitt's the host of our Hands-On Photography and Hands-On Wellness shows, twit.tv/hop and twit.tv/how. Please listen. They're great shows. Aunt puts his heart and soul into it. And it's a great way to learn photography, to find out about some really interesting wellness tips. Thank you, Aunt. We'll see you again, all of you, next Wednesday.
My pleasure.
We do This Week in Google, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 20:30 UTC. Watch it stream live or listen live at twit.tv/live. Chat along with the others in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. Best thing to do, you can get it on demand at our website, twit.tv/twig, but the best thing to do is to actually subscribe. That way, you get it automatically as soon as it's available of a Wednesday evening. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you next time on Twig. Bye-bye.
I'm Jason Howell, host of Hands on Android, where each week I take a look at the Android operating system and really dive deep into what it can do for you and how it can improve your quality of life, whether it be tips and tricks on how to use it better, whether it can be little known secrets that open up a world of possibilities. So many topics to dive into, including your emails. Subscribe by going to twit.tv/HOA. We'll see you there.